All right, welcome back. We're talking to Brad Williams, VP of Franchise Restaurant at Checkers and Rallies. Brad, welcome to HR's Most Dangerous Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
So to today myself a little bit, and I know that this isn't how it works in most cases, but in the old days when I would fill an application, whether it was online or actual piece of paper, I handed it to a human being,
Yes.
and I kind of built somewhat of an engagement or relationship there. In the world of text automation, that always doesn't come across. And we've read stories about people believing that they're actually talking to, in your case, Mia,
Yes.
I guess, and she's answering me and she's scheduling me. But then when you actually go to the scheduled meeting, maybe there's a disconnect between, Mia's not behind the counter, right? So how has that sort of played out in the organization? How do you train the franchisees? Like, hey, if someone comes in and asks for Mia, here's what's going on there, and here's the connection to them.
It's a great question, and it's very interesting because, franchisees come in all shapes, sizes, right? There are some very sophisticated ones that have other businesses and multiple other brands, and then you've got some that this is their livelihood. And it was funny when we started talking about Mia, and I'll go back to the calendar. What do you mean, my calendar? I keep it in I write it down. I'm like, no. The calendar on your back of the house computer, you're going to need to block out dates and times. And so that was a learning curve for some of our owners. But to your question, once we got to that point and they realized that the folks that were showing up were ones that just applied because the timeline was shortened and were interested in working for you, then they were able to sit down and have that conversation. And I did hear sometimes that it come up like, oh, you're not who I talked to. And then you kind of went through, yeah, that's our assistant, and have that. But it really is about, time to hire, because if Checkers and Rallies doesn't hire them, there's 4 of our competitors right on the same corner, and these folks are looking for work.
Yeah.
And so the faster you can be, make sure your calendar is up to date, get that interview scheduled. That's where you win.
Well, that being said, if you don't have the people, you can't get the service. Can't get the service, you can't get the money.
Right.
Can't make the money, right? So at the end of the day, was this kind of like just an easy math problem for your franchisees to say, look, you're already understaffed, so therefore it's going to impact your revenue negatively. We need to be able to get you to this point so that you can actually make money.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that it's somewhat of a math problem, right? Because it's about time to hire, saving money. The fact that the corporation, us, was paying for it for them, that's a win. And we've always done that with the other vendors, so that wasn't a big sell. We continued that, and then when we showed them, hey, you can also add on your I-9 integrations, your background checks, your WOTC, we have that avenue for you. Just talk to your Paradox specialist, then it was a win.
So franchises again, these franchises aren't just with you. Some of these guys own franchises with other groups,
Yes.
right? So have you seen where these organizations are like, hey, we're doing so well here with Checkers and Rallies, we want to try to pull this system into our other franchises?
I've only heard of one case where a franchise group was like, wow, this is really great. It's working for me. I'm going to look at it with other brands, where we gave them the info and set up the contacts, but I'm not sure if they ever moved, but that did happen one time.
Okay. Yeah.
You are on the front line of the automation conversation.
Yeah.
And on a regular basis, Flippy's doing burgers. I have a kiosk in my, area,
Yes.
McDonald's, and at some point, AI's taking my order. We won't need people.
Yes.
I want to hear from your perspective. Are we going there, or is it the distant future? Is it coming tomorrow? Talk about automation in your business.
Sure.
How many Flippies have you bought?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and the Flippy thing's very funny because, I mentioned I've been doing this 30 years and everything was by hand. Now we've simplified so much that is very interesting to see. So I'm sort of in the middle. We do have AI in our drive-thrus. It's in approximately 80% of our corporate stores, and I think about 50% of franchisees have it. So it's really helpful for those times that someone calls out because she never misses work. So that's beautiful. And it's a learning. There's ways when they get an order wrong, we can hit a button on the head and say, no, they said a Big Buford with no cheese, and they learned. So we're already on the front end. I do think you're not going to replace the frontline workers all the way. I don't think it's the same as building cars, where it's lines and ratcheting and different things. I think you're going to need the people. The reason we didn't have 100% adoption on AI in the drive-thru is because franchisees felt, no, I want my cashier taking that. I don't want to lose that person-to-person greeting. I want them to hear the smile through the speaker. So that was a big thing.
Yeah. So there'll be a balance between, we do have tools augmenting or helping our workers, but we're never going to be worker free.
Yeah.
What kind of, can you put a number on how would the decrease in manpower we're going to need going forward?
This is total speculation, but I think the 25 to 30% range is probably pretty close.
We'll only need 25 to 30?
No, I think we'll cut 25 to 30.
Okay.
You know, we've done some things. There's a type of grill out there now called a clamshell, where used to the guy standing at the grill, you hit the timer, you flip it, you stand, you wait, you move it. Yeah. Now this clamshell cooks in 30 seconds because it comes down, it cooks on both sides, and you just need the guy to pull it off the grill. So drop the patties, hit the button, walk away, make a sandwich, you can come back. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Faster burgers.
Yes.
That makes Joel Cheeseman very happy.
Yes, it does. As long as they don't lose the taste.
That's correct.
As they're still delicious.
Yeah, quality matters.
So talking about AI in the drive-thru, which was actually my daughter was in the car and she wanted to stop by to one of your competitors and they had one, and we did the order and it eventually had to go to a human, right?
Yep.
I'm sure that happens all the way through. And again, AI is a puppy. It's got to learn, right? You got to teach it. So when all of that is happening, is the AI actually learning from all of these situations? How have you been sold a good bills on AI in the actual drive-thru?
Yeah, so the ones that use it properly, and what I mean by that is that take the time when there's a mistake and teach, no, it was this, or it was a Baconzilla, not a Big Buford.
So there's a human with a headset that's
listening. Right. Yeah. To your point, you said the human took over. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. They get stuck or they're not understanding. So then we call that an interruption. They take over and they finish the order.
Gotcha.
But in an ideal world, after the order's done, it gets through it, then you teach it that previous order number, whatever, was a so-and-so, and then it's supposed to learn. What I will say in the franchisees who have embraced this, and do that on a daily shift by shift basis, their AIs are so much faster when I go through the drive-thru.
Yeah.
It's just something about the tone. Even the AI's voice is quicker in between the upsells. She always hits the upsells on a timely manner versus the big pause.
So it even has the upsells. Would you like to?
Yeah. Medium or large, bacon on that. Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything after Baconzilla. Well, we'll have a side conversation about
yes,
that.
we will. I got you.
He's talking about coupon cards.
Oh, okay, got it.
Immigration's been a huge news story in the last few years, and obviously your business relies on immigrants and people to do 100%. That work. Talk about that aspect of your business and also how AI and tools can cross the language barrier or help training and retention.
Yeah, I mean, look, depending on the part of the world you're in, you get, more of the immigrants that want to come and look and want to have that work than some other parts of the country. In California, I don't know where those restaurants would be without that workforce. They are amazing, and they're some of my best run restaurants. They just are. It's interesting you say about the second language. We recently rolled testing in Miami to Spanish for the AI.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. It's early. We'll see how that goes. But then we're going to roll that to California, and we'll see from there.
So talk about that from a bilingual standpoint right now, right? So from a customer service standpoint, that's awesome because if somebody wants to order in Spanish, they're always going to want to come back to O'Reilly's or Checkers, right? Or at least that's going to make them feel more comfortable. Talk about that from the candidate side of the house.
Yeah, so from the candidate side, that's something we're doing as well.
Yeah.
It's there. Mia knows it and is able to accommodate those candidates. The franchisees that are heavy Hispanic and Latino with their hiring, that was one of the first things they asked. They wanted to make sure they could cater to those candidates and those employees, and we were able to accommodate that.
Chad, that's another one in the can. We out.